Hey Tony, it's Friday, and I actually got off early today, so I was able to actually go to my favorite bar and relax there for a little bit. So that was nice. So this isn't a 8 p.m. video like they have been. So first off, Tony, to answer your question of the week, there's actually one of my really good friends from undergrad. I don't know if you remember him. Remember my friend Jeremy? I don't know if you ever met him, but I actually ended up I was on Steam playing The Witcher probably a week and a half ago, and Jeremy was playing something else as well. So him and I struck up a conversation. It was the first we had talked in months. Well, really like a year and a half. It had been a long time. We caught up, had a good time. He's doing really well, which is good. So the theme of this week, Tony, as I try and position the camera a little bit, I think the theme of this week is going to be the practice known as gatekeeping. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with what gatekeeping is, because it's not exactly a good thing. But what gatekeeping is when a group who enjoys kind of a niche area of entertainment or some sort makes it more difficult for people to get in there, basically by saying that, oh, you're not a real this and this because a real this and this would do that and that. And it's a really bad practice. I actually wanted to make this video for a little bit because it's something that you deal with every day. Every time you try and watch, like any time you try and watch somebody playing a video game, especially if it's like a girl playing a video game, there's a lot of gatekeeping. There are a lot of, creepy nerdy guys who are just like, oh, you're not a real gamer because you don't do this. I've been doing this since forever. And it's a really bad practice. So we're going to kind of go through two parts here as to one, why it's a bad practice, and two, why we should get rid of it. So the first off, the reason why it's a bad practice is because generally, like, when it comes to any entertainment area, you want to expand the audience, for lack of a better term. So a good example that I can think of immediately is Monster Hunter World. So Monster Hunter World was a really niche game. Or the Monster Hunter series was a really niche series that not a lot of people got into. But now Monster Hunter World came out, and it's been Capcom's greatest selling game ever, which is awesome. Like, it's a series I've enjoyed for a long time, even if I was bad at it. This is the first game I've actually gotten and was able to play. And so what gatekeepers tend to do in this case would be, oh, you guys are the noobs. You guys are just playing this because it's popular. I've been playing this since I was 6 years old, or et cetera, et cetera. And it's a really bad practice because you're just going to give people a bad taste of the game, or a bad thought of the game. And even worse, you're going to close off your market, and you're never going to expand it. Now, there are some arguments, of course, as to why you want to keep it kind of a close-knit niche group. But I'm of the opinion that you never want that, because it all comes down to the bottom line, particularly with games and movies as well, because you see a lot of issues with the Marvel movies as well. Like, the comic book scene is one that has exploded because of the Marvel MCU movies and such, and that's something that a lot of people have really enjoyed. And it's opened up a whole nother audience to what were traditionally comics that nobody really knew about. And now everybody watches Marvel movies, and they're some of the best-selling movies. It's opened up an entire new audience, and that's why Marvel can make 27 movies and have everyone make billions and billions of dollars. It's crazy, and it's great because it opens up an audience. You notice it's the same with D&D as well, in which, like, D&D used to be entirely a really niche group, and it was kind of thought to be not very socially acceptable. But now that, with the advent of Critical Role and other things like that, a lot of popular groups, organizations, and people are starting to play D&D, and it's opening up a whole nother audience. Like, D&D is probably in the best spot it's been. It's the best spot it's been now for years, because there are new people who are playing every day, and a lot of it's because of Critical Role. And what the gatekeepers would try and do would be to lock off D&D to only be for their group. It's where you get people who are like, oh, this is so casual now, I hate it because it's casual. Oh, they tried to streamline it, so it's bad. And it turns into, like I said, a bad practice, because your audience never grows. You never get anything new and groundbreaking out of it. And even further, it makes you look like a douche. And I notice that most when it comes to gatekeeping for video games, and involving women who are coming into the gaming world. Because the cool thing about video games now is that it's not solely a male thing anymore. There are a lot of great series that women play just as much as men. And that's awesome. Like, that's great to see because it's expanding an audience and it's becoming more egalitarian in nature. Now, here's why I think we should get rid of the gatekeeping process and how I think it can help us in the long run. So first off, I think we should get rid of the gatekeeping mentality because it, as I mentioned before, it closes an audience, it makes you look like a douche, and it stops people from really wanting to invest any time into this thing that you love. And that's kind of sad to me. Like, I know if I love something, I want to show it to as many people as possible and go, oh, I think you would really like this. A good example was Doctor Who when I introduced you to it, Tony. And I have since regretted that, but that's fine. But if I were a gatekeeper, I would have gone, oh, you're not good enough to do this. You need to do this and this to get to this point. And it wouldn't have turned out well, and you would have missed something that you really love, because you love Doctor Who, and that's awesome. And it's the same thing with games, is if I play a game, I try and get Taylor to play. I try and get a couple of my friends to play, because I'm like, listen, I think you guys would really enjoy this game, and if you give it a try, I think it'd mean a lot to you. And that feels good to me, because I know that I'm not stopping anybody else from doing something that I think they would enjoy. So, as I said, it's very common in the Major League Gaming scene now. Like, I'm thinking Overwatch. Now, Overwatch was built as a game on a vast variety of characters, all of which who are unique and different, and are all minorities in their own special way. Like, Tracer is a lesbian. Symmetra is Indian, from India. And she's on the spectrum, which is great. It's an interesting way to bring in a character. And you have equal parts men and women who are coming in here. So Overwatch as a game is a great concept because it's great for showing that, hey, these people are just as awesome as you. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, lesbian, straight, or anything in between. They all have something and they all do something great. But the Overwatch League had some issues when it first started, because the cast, like the people who actually competed, were not that diverse. They were predominantly male, and they were pretty much, and most of the men were either Asian or they were white. And it's not a really wide variety of people. Now they've opened up a lot better. Some professional female players are coming in that's going to do a great thing. And it's all because gatekeeping should be a thing of the past, because we want more of this. We want more people to join in. We want more people to do all of these things because it makes a much happier, much better world. And even more so, it makes it so you can share something that means a lot to you with just about anybody. It doesn't matter what they are, and that's a good way to help create a trust and kindness amongst people. So Tony, my question for you is going to be completely unrelated to this, but do you actually own a suit? I've never seen you in a suit, so I'm curious. Tony, I'll see you on Tuesday. Later, bro.